Hey, Scott from MyGrowthRings.com. Here once again is my garage shop, and welcome back once again for a midweek follow-up to the weekend video, a show I like to call Stumped Q&A. And what are we responding to questions about? Well, that was using the mortiser on the Shopsmith Mark V, hollow chisel mortiser, and also using these aftermarket levers. So before we get to the questions, one of the questions here has to do with some differences in the chisels and bits. So we will go ahead and cut a few more mortises in this video using another set of chisels and bits. So be sure to wait for that and watch that. So Mr. R.W. Mack said that he tried using a 3/8 inch hollow chisel mortiser on his Shopsmith Mark V, that it failed. He's going to get the stone and give it another try. The stones we're talking about is this cone-shaped diamond stone, and also this flat diamond stone. They make all the difference in the world, because unfortunately the chisels with a hollow chisel mortiser set typically don't come to you sharp. So and then his other consideration is to just buy a set that's the Japanese style. That's actually my preference, but give it a shot. You have nothing to lose. Bruce Peters said, does the sleeve come with the mortising kit? And will you show the setup of the old chisel bits? Yes, we will show the setup of the old one. And the sleeve he's talking about is this right here. This is the part that the chisel goes into. That goes into this mechanism, and the chisel is then held still, but this drives it in like a ram. By the way, I saw a comment or a question on either the Shopsmith forum or the Shopsmith owners group on Facebook about how, oh, Shopsmith, there they go again. They've got a 5/8 inch hole and a 5/8 inch shaft on the end of their chisels. You know, they're suckering you into having to buy their stuff. No, 5/8 is pretty common. You can buy them from Grizzly. You can buy them from Jet. You can buy them from Delta. You can get them from two different styles from Lee Valley, and so on and so on. So no, 5/8 inch. As long as your chisels are in that 1/2 inch and smaller, 1/2 inch, 3/8 quarter, that 5-inch shaft is not a problem at all. So anyway, let's get on to his Boris. I don't know. Sorry for mispronouncing. How about a cheater bar? The question is, could you just take that stock quill lever, stick a pipe on it, and use that for leverage? Sure, you absolutely could. And trust me, Shopsmith would be happy to sell you a new handle and hub. One of these is going to fail, I guarantee you. Don't do it. Now, to that point, let's see. Let me jump ahead here. No, I'm not going to jump ahead. We're going to come back to that. Andy Milligan said that he uses a 2x4 between the table and the floor to prevent the table from distorting. See, this 510 table, 520, has these legs that allow us to get additional support for the table. You don't have that with the earlier models, and so yeah, sure, put a 2x4, 4x4, anything by 4 underneath your table to help support it. You're way ahead if you do that. Also, he heard of the dime trick from Nick Engler. Nick, who has his own channel here on YouTube, I'll link to it below, used to work at Shopsmith a long time ago. And in fact, I either learned that trick from Nick when I was working there, or I heard it from the guy he learned it from, probably in all likelihood. Jim McCann is brilliant. But yes, we all use that technique with the dime. In fact, we're going to use that with the old Shopsmith style chisel and bit that we'll install here in just a bit. Josh Walker said, any reason not to use the Shopsmith horizontally? In fact, he and I kind of went around on this. I misunderstood what he was asking. I was saying, no, you wouldn't want to use it horizontally, because trying to bore against the fence in horizontal mode, which is with the spindle going horizontal, the table flat, and your fence here, the fence is going to deflect too much. And he said, no, I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking with the table lifted as you would for the drill press. So imagine taking the drill press here and just laying it on its back. Putting your stock against the fence, could you just bore into that horizontally? Now I get you, and no, for a different reason. in that configuration, without going into a whole bunch of weird shop built stuff to support the table's going to flex too much. With the table normally designed to be horizontal, maybe even butted up against an extension, maybe with some tubes in between to hold it rigid. When you tilt that table vertically, which is what it would be if I lay this down, you don't have that support. You can't add, without having to build something in your shop, support to keep that from flexing. So no, there's really no advantage to doing that. Dennis said, hey, there's new hope for his drill press. He was happy to see that it's pretty easy to prevent that carriage from slipping. If you don't know what we're talking about, check out the original video. Both Dave Schmidt and Bob Weber said that they're happy that they're not weaklings, that they both apparently tried to use a 3/8 or a 1/2 inch hollow chisel on their mortising setup and couldn't do it. That's right, with that handle, not going to get there. And somebody made the suggestion, can you just use 2 of these? That's worth a try, actually. Put one on each side of the headstock and try it. At the very least, I know that would help you with your 1/4 and 3/8 inch bits. So yeah, do it. Let's see. R.D. Helm said, could I recommend an aftermarket chisel and bit set? Yeah, almost any of them are worth trying. Even the cheap ones, though their quality will be lower, they'll be of a higher quality than some of the old ones that we used to get. They're just a couple things to look for. They're Japanese style, and one of the things you don't want is you don't want to have that little amount of a drill bit. When the drill bit is pushed in against the chisel, you actually want close to 4 inches here. And so this one is not ideal. I made it work, but I didn't show you what I had to do to make it work. What you're really looking for, let's go back to the good old days. Here's an early Shopsmith one. If I push the bit up into the chisel, you can see I've got probably 3.5 inches extended. This setup needs that to get a good purchase on the drill bit, on the bit in the chuck. This set of bits that I use in my shop on my my Powermatic mortising machine. Look at that again. That's got close to 3.5 inches there. These are a 3/4 inch shank, so those would not go into the Shopsmith mortising setup. In fact, let me see which one's the biggest one I have here. I didn't grab them all. Oh, how about this one? There's a 1/2 inch version. This Japanese style, one of the giveaways is it has a very long slot for ejecting chips. They tend to have pretty sharp points on them, and they have a very coarse bit with a single flute on them. But again, most important thing, if you're looking on Amazon, you're looking at anybody's catalog, you're looking for about 3 inches beyond. Now, it may be that they center the bit to show a little bit of it sticking out there and a little bit of it sticking out there. You might want to give them a call before you risk it. Okay, what else do we have here? Oh, but would I make a recommendation? Yeah, Lee Valley. Lee Valley tools, their premium hollow chisel mortising chisels and bit set are amazing. They're made in Japan. They are the ones that you want. You can buy them individually. They're pretty expensive. You can buy a single bit for what you can get 4 different sizes in a set, in an economy set. It's still worth it. That said, I'm not familiar with their economy set. It's made in Taiwan, looks pretty good. So I've purchased a couple of them, and I'm going to test them out. So at some point, we'll jump back into this and we'll try those, and I'll give you an opinion as to whether I would recommend those. But the Lee Valley Premium, if you want the best you can get, that's it. William said, can I get a link? Can I send him a link for the LED lights? Everybody, say it after me. You'll find all the links in the video description. Literally, you can drop down and there's all kinds of information, links to where I am on social media and so on. but there are links there to everything that I can think of to share with you. I do that to help you and to help me. Those are affiliate links, which mean when you click on them and you buy something from Amazon or eBay or wherever, they give me a little finder's fee, and that helps me. And you don't pay any more if you were to go out on your own and search and find those same items. They're not a penny more expensive if you use my link. So in fact, they actually will give me something if you use my link and you go and you buy toilet paper. It doesn't matter what you buy. What matters is they're happy that you came to them through my link. So, hey, I appreciate that. Next time you buy toilet paper, think of me. Let's see. Then there's also, but yes, the link to the lights are there. Hayden said, am I crazy to spring for the Shopsmith Universal Tool Rest? That is this big, monstrous cast iron tool rest that you can add to the Mark V for lathe turning, or Mark VII. And my first reaction, I started to type the answer that I don't know that you're going to find that it's worth the investment. But then I did a double take and I thought about it. You know, I've been seeing them show up on Craigslist and on eBay, and in many cases, they sell for the exact same price, and in a couple cases more than the new price. So with them retaining their value as they are, and with Shopsmith having trouble keeping up with enough production, if you think that you'll use it, go ahead and get it. And if nothing else, sell it and you get your money back more or less. So yeah, I guess, yeah, now's the time. You're not crazy. And then finally, Mark said, well, that's a complicated tool, talking about the mortising setup. I'll tell you, it's not complicated once you understand it, once you know what goes into it, and as long as you're not having to talk to camera, it actually goes pretty quickly. So let's now get this back together using the original old school, made in America by Forest City Tools, Shopsmith Chisel and Bit set. This is a 3/8 inch set. I need to make sure it's sharp. Okay, it's got a big burr. I gotta get the burrs off of that, and then we'll go ahead and get this installed. There is one more thing I keep forgetting to mention. I did use a backup board here, and for good reason, several good reasons. The first one is I certainly don't want to chisel all the way through and into my table or my insert, but also you'll notice I have a plastic zero clearance insert installed. So there's going to be flex here if I don't change that. So instead, as a rule, I typically will just put a backer board on the table, and then that takes care of all those problems. So to install this, I typically find it easier to do this, give myself a little more room if I lift the headstock up to do this. And so I'm basically going to grip the tube here, and I'm going to loosen the headstock and then give it a shove to raise it up. That's easier to do from the front of the machine, but you're in my way. Thank you very much. And then we'll put the bit in. The drill bit's got to go up into the chuck, and the chisel is going to go here into that sleeve. And here's where we use the old dime trick. We're going to have to get by with a penny. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and put a dime in between the top of the chisel and that sleeve right there. And then we're going to tighten the set screw that holds that chisel in place. You are so in my way. Can't overstate that. Make sure all this is tight right now, but you'll notice that the drill bit is loose. So now we're going to take the drill bit, we're going to push it all the way up into the chisel, and now we're going to tighten the bit in place with the chuck key. Remember what I said in the last video, you really do, and just like Nick said, you really do want to tighten all 3 points on your chuck, just in case. All right, now we're going to loosen the chuck. This seems counterintuitive, but trust me, loosen the chuck, pull, or loosen the shaft, pull your coin out, and now you can raise your chisel that thickness of the coin. What that did was that allowed us a little bit of a distance in between the chisel and the drill bit. With this style of drill bit with a double flute, that gives us the proper spacing. With the Japanese style chisel and bit, the bit sticks out of the chisel a little bit more. At least that has been my finding on that subject. All right, so let's give this a try. We'll have to lower the headstock down a little bit. So I'm going to again grip the tube right underneath the headstock. I'm going to loosen the headstock, and then I'm just letting it slide down till it's about where I want it. Got about a 1/4 inch clearance. Also, you'll notice that some people like to position this so that the chips are going out to the right or going out to the left. They would argue that if you have them going out to the right, you would start on the right end and chisel towards the left. And that way your chips are flying off. You're never cutting or chopping into your chips. So if you're going to start on the left and then move it towards the left, you would want to have this facing the other way. I find all that goes away if I just face the opening towards me. So that's what I do. And then let's set our depth here so we don't go through the table. And we're ready to go. I had a false start there. So let's try this again. Here we go, going in with a 3/8 inch drill. Gotta try it with 2 handles. There we go. Nope, we're getting nowhere fast. Nope. So you see what was happening there is I was pushing so hard and the chisel was not penetrating. So the chisel and the sleeve started moving up. That meant the drill bit started extending further out of the mouth of this. Now I'm going to try this again. I'll reset it, but this is the problem. This is the problem. It's a tough setup. Go ahead and we'll torque down on everything. One more time. Yep. And now the drill bit is getting loose in the chuck, spinning free. Remember, with the Japanese style chisel, we were actually chiseling with a larger chisel. And we're going to have to give that a rest to cool off, otherwise our bit will lose its temper. So there was no trickery there. This is genuinely the way that this is set up. I find that these old style chisels just don't penetrate as well as the new Japanese style. So I hope that was helpful to you. I hope it answered your questions. Highly recommend if you're going to buy a mortising kit today from Shopsmith, you're going to get it with the Japanese style chisels. If you buy it on eBay or someplace used, the chisels and bits that come with it are likely going to be that Forest City style. They're okay, but you're far better off getting yourself some Japanese style chisels. More information to come. Check out the drop down, the doobly-doo, for all the links that you might be curious about. And see you this weekend. Make it a great week.